Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Today we're discussing a new series from Netflix, The Dragon Prince.
Created by many people from the original Avatar series, this all-new show is set in a fantasy world where humans and elves are in conflict. And long ago, humans used dark magic and were driven off by the dragons and elves to one end of the continent. Now, after humans killed the Dragon King and his egg, war is coming. As forces gather, the elves attempt to assassinate the human king, Harrow, and his heir prince, Ezran.
And one among the elves, the young Rayla, along with Ezran and his older brother, Callum, discovered that the Dragon King's egg wasn't in fact destroyed, but stolen. Together they travel to return the egg to the dragons to prevent war. So it's already got an Avatar set up there.
Right.
But you know, it's a whole different show where you say, oh, it's just the same thing. No, it's a whole different show, just a similar
The only
type of
similarity is Sokka's instincts.
You right? Sokka's instincts. Finally got a show.
Yes.
Jack Densna is the voice of Callum.
Yes, and we were so happy to hear him. And you can tell he's older, but he still sounds like Sokka. And
Right.
it's just wonderful and exciting to hear an old favorite.
Right. And people were also joking, saying, how's it feel to have powers instead of just using a boomerang this time? Are your instincts your superpowers? And so people still remember that line. And they also had the cast was very diverse, not just for the humans or for the elves, for the good and there's not even a good or evil side in there. It's just conflict. It's just two people at war, but there's no basis with the Fire Nation. You knew they were bad and everyone else wasn't, but here it isn't like that. It's just of the point of view during this war.
Right, and I also think part of that reason is this is just the first season. They were getting their feet wet. I think there's going to be more of that in the second season based on how this first season ended, which we can't and won't tell you and spoil it. But I think that good-evil dichotomy is coming up in season 2.
Yes. And remember, when we first saw this on Netflix, we weren't really sure about it. It only has 9 episodes the first season.
Right.
And it's already been renewed for a second season, which is coming out this year. So you won't have that long to wait if you have watched the show already. The characters, immediately when we first saw Callum, we immediately thought Sokka just because of the voice.
Exactly.
But he also looked like someone from Voltron or someone from Avatar, because you could tell there was still influence from the other studios in it. And then you have the little brother, Ezran, and he's this little toad thingy that glows. It's like it just
right.
And it's like because everyone needs a little animal psychic that doesn't do anything.
Right.
And then you had Rayla, who was they call it Moon Shadow Elf, but you can see someone watched Lord of the Rings recently.
Right, you can tell there are a lot of influences that they've taken and made a whole different fantasy,
right.
A whole different myth.
And the difference is they're not ripping it off. You just can tell this was the inspiration,
Exactly.
This is the shout out, this is the reference. It's still its own thing, but you love that they're referencing all these different movies and stuff to make the characters.
Now, one thing I really did like, since we're discussing those 3 characters, is usually when you have a show and there's a blended family, sometimes if there's an older sister and a younger sister, an older brother and a younger brother, they don't get along. But they skip that stereotype or trope here.
Exactly.
And the older brother really loves the younger brother. And he really works to protect him. And the younger brother, you can tell, idolizes, so to speak, the older brother.
Right.
And it's a nice, refreshing change from the nobody can get along, and not until a conflict or a crisis can we learn to get along.
Right. And they also had the king, King Harrow, and a lot of people really liked him. Like the time of his role being a little short, people really liked him and his relationship with his sons. You know, he still wants to know them and know he's always there for them. And it's not like you said, there's no type of conflict or like they don't get along. It's just that he wants them to be safe and learn and be there for them. There's just this thing where there's some type of miscommunication, but it's very, really minor. It's nothing where it's like eye-rolling drama.
And at first it's so funny. We both assumed that the king was going to be voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson just from the look of the king and the type of role.
Right.
And then we were like, oh, it's not Kevin Michael
Right.
But the voice actor does a stupendous job. What's the voice actor's name?
His name is Luke
Roderick.
Yeah. Thank you. And a lot of these people we actually didn't recognize. If they're in other projects, we are not familiar with them. The only one we know for sure is Sokka.
Right.
Jack Desmond's the only one we knew for sure, and everyone.
And Giancarlo Volpe.
Oh yes, who is one of the executive producers, along with Aaron Ehaz, who was the co-creator of the original Avatar series. And the other characters they have in here is Varen, who ends up taking, like, I guess, Pro Tem, right?
Right.
Pro Tem King, and then his kids.
Like Lotor.
Right. And then you have...
Emperor Pro Tem.
Right, then you have his kids, Soren, and what's the sister's name?
Claudia.
Thank you. Yeah, and they're actually pretty interesting characters. They kind of first come off as maybe some antagonists or soon to be antagonists, but then you get to see them when they're by themselves and they're looking for the heirs. They're kind of goofballs in their own way. I mean, they're attempting to be serious, but sometimes the dialogue they have is just like, what?
And
what?
the seriousness is because of their dad, who's telling them this is the way you're supposed to be. This is what you have to do. And all of his influence is affecting what they're doing in looking for the princess.
Right. And like I said, the dialogue they have is like really great. At first you're like, oh, here they are. But then as you get to see them more, they're really just, like you said, doing what their dad says, because they have their own personality, their own thing. Like this one part has become like already iconic. Is they create coffee, but coffee doesn't have a name yet. And she said it's supposed to help you stay awake. I call it hot brown morning potion. And most people say, aren't you drinking coffee? No, I'm drinking hot brown morning potion. That's what I'm drinking. And then we also have Rayla's brother, who is another Moon Shadow elf, and they've been trained to assassinate like any threat to the other elves. Is running, and already everyone thinking like Lotor's long lost brother or something.
You're knowing that it's been influenced by Lotor, but it makes me think more of the Lord of the Rings, of elves that are not quite so nice. Right.
You know Lord of the Rings. That's the obvious influence, but that particular character just reminds you of Lotor. And I see lots of art of them together, like, oh, I'll teach you how to be an elf. He's like, please stop. But like I said, all the characters are very interesting as it goes on, even in the short span of episodes.
And now there's lots of drama. There's comedy. There's drama. There's a lot of plot development. And we didn't think in the 9 seasons that we would actually, 9 episodes, forgive me, that you could actually get into it, because we're like, just 9 episodes?
Yeah.
Do you really want to start watching this? And we did. And I have to say, the first episode is surprising, but it wasn't until about the 3rd that we really got into it. Yeah, and we just wanted to finish the series. We didn't care that it was only 9 episodes. We wanted to just go ahead and watch them. Right,
because I think because of the pacing, it was just mostly set up so you knew who the characters were, personality, story. They wanted you to know everything within the first 2 episodes, so that it does make sense why it took a little while for it to get started. And then they had the backstory of how this all started with this very oddly made animation.
The one thing I was going to say, that was one thing that kind of threw us off. It was like, why does this look like 2D? Yeah. And we kept seeing the artwork. Yeah. But after you watch it a while, you get used to it. Yes, that's true. And it doesn't even strike you as odd because you've watched enough episodes. But in the beginning, when you see the artwork, when you see the thumbnail, you're going to look at it like, why is the artwork like this? Because you're so used to high resolution art, dynamic art,
and traditional animation has kind of made a comeback with, the 2D, and it's doing way more
like with She-Ra.
Right, and it's doing way more than some of the CGI shows. Nothing wrong with CGI or 3D, but people who grew up with that animation and loved it, and now they made it even better, it's like they want more of that.
Well, it's probably, thinking from more cost-effective avenue. Yes. 2D's got to be cheaper than having the other.
Yes, I agree.
But you know what? Variety is good. So now we've got some that are CGI, some that are 3D, so to speak, and some that are 2D. Right. And I think in terms of being able just to see the show, that's something we're just going to have to say, okay, we're good with.
Right.
So we can see the story. So we can see these people have their jobs and use their talents. We'll take 2D.
Plus, it was also based off a little 2D little short film someone made many years ago, and he's been wanting to make this into a show for a while, so they finally got to do it. It looks really different, because they've had time and years to, build the world that it is. So it makes sense. But that's really great when these little ideas on YouTube and these other sites, and then they get made into movies and they become iconic all from the beginning of that. I love when those projects get a chance to shine and then they become more than they could imagine.
Absolutely.
And 2 more characters we didn't bring up. Would be the prince's aunt, which is General Amaya, I think it's her name, and she's deaf, but she still is able to kick butt. Yeah,
and she has two.
Right, and then she has a interpreter, Gren, and people really love those two as well, because the stuff
it looks like maybe there's a ship. Boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah. I didn't see it at first, and then when it came to when they separated temporarily, it was at least the second season. You said, I think she likes him or something there, because I didn't see it at first, because she would say things and he would interpret it. Like I said, when she told what's his name again? Viren, I had to think of the name, sorry, and he was saying, I've got this under control, there's no problem here, and then she, sign language, said, can you get the stable boy in here, because I'm smelling a big pile of bull droppings. I can't say that. So there's some things he won't say, because she will tell people off. He's like, I'm not saying that. And it's hilarious.
It's like 2D Korra, when she would make those little hand movements.
Yeah. And people really love those characters, because I do want to see more of them, because automatically you like their dynamic. And there's never, it's kind of like with Toph. You never see anything as something that's disadvantage to the character, but it's more of a strength. It's just part of them, and then it just keeps going, and you just like that part about them as well as the character.
Right.
Then that was just one of the funniest moments from that whole show.
Now, if you have seen this show, Dragon Prince, let us know in the comments below how you like it, what characters you think are really great and are going to have a lot more development season 2. And let us know if you're really happy to hear Sokka again. I know his name is Jack Desna, but
we love
Sokka.
Sokka's instincts. Yes. Plus, they have some things at the end credits of every episode, which many people have been theorizing will lead to something happening in future episodes in the next season. So when you do watch it, pay attention to the end credits of every episode, because you might find something that will give you a clue of the next season. Right. And you can subscribe to Dragon Prince on Twitter, because whoever runs it is hilarious. I don't know if it's the creator or what, but whoever it is has a great sense of humor, because they post funny stuff every day and talk to the fans.
Awesome. So we look forward to hearing your thoughts and comments.
Thank you for watching, everybody. I'm Rascal Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a toontastic day.
Peace.
And reporters sitting flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you want to do? Man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. Met her in my dreams. She was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket. Give it to you later on.